Word on the consensus that seems to be building between the Congress and the TMC?
Yes, and I think the reflection of that will be the meeting that is going to take place after years between Sonia Gandhi and Mamata Banerjee. At one point of time, they were very close. They still share a very good equation, but that equation between the two political parties had actually completely soured. That is because ever since she left the UPA in a half, the Congress tied up with the left, her bitter enemy in West Bengal. They also appointed Ranjan Chaudhary, who's her most bitter critic, as the state chief. Things have been going downhill. But if you look at the kind of narrative or the campaign during the Bengal elections, Congress was by and large soft on Mamata Banerjee, training their guns on the BJP. After that, a kind of bonhomie between the two of them as far as, the Pegasus issue is concerned. The Congress party, for example, tweeting its support for Abhishek Banerjee. Standing right outside the Lok Kalyan Bagh, what we've been told is that Mamata Banerjee has just reached the residence and office of the Prime Minister. Expected to be a short meeting. On her agenda, of course, is going to be a demand for more grants, because the argument of many state governments ruled by the opposition parties is that because of COVID times, their GST allocation funds have fallen. Therefore, they need more money for medical infrastructure and on to boost up the economy. Also, a demand for more vaccination. No clarity yet whether she's actually going to raise the Pegasus issue, because that would be a thorny one. She certainly is meeting the Prime Minister in the backdrop of this entire Pegasus issue. In fact, the state government of West Bengal has been the first and only government which has individually ordered a probe into this, because Abhishek Banerjee has been involved in it.
Right. And even as you put a context to a possible meeting between Mamata Banerjee and Sonia Gandhi, Pallavi, there is also a lot of context to the meeting between the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister. Their last meeting didn't really, go very well. There's a lot of issues that have always cropped up between the BJP and the TMC since the election results in Bengal too, but also the governments at the centre and at the state.
Oh, yes, absolutely. But this is a matter of protocol, Normally a visiting chief minister, especially after a win, whenever they come down to a national capital, they meet up with the Prime Minister. After all, he's the Prime Minister of the country. And if she wants any funds, look back home in Bengal, she would also need to show to her constituents that I'm ready to walk that extra mile, because I'm ready to meet the Prime Minister and demand more for the state. And that's the messaging she would certainly want to carry back with her. But at the same time, if you think that Mamata Banerjee is going to bend backwards, not make a point with the Prime Minister, she definitely is likely to do. Either she comes and speaks to us after this meeting is over. Tomorrow there's a scheduled press conference of Mamata Banerjee, of course. In that also she may be addressing these points on what her meeting went with the Prime Minister.
Right. Just to put it in context for our viewers, last time the two leaders were slated to meet and come face to face was in West Bengal, and that was because of the Cyclone Yas meeting, and that really did not go according to protocol, as they say, and that then led to a huge battle on the then Chief Secretary too. Let me go across to political editor Maria Shakil also joining us. Maria, tell us more of what you're picking up of the meeting of the Chief Minister of West Bengal with the Prime Minister.
Yes, so this meeting certainly is important because Mamata Banerjee is travelling to Delhi. And she arrived in Delhi last evening, and thereafter she has had series of meetings with opposition leaders, and most of them were from the Congress party, from Kamal Nath to Anand, Sharma. And now is this meeting of the Chief Minister with the Prime Minister here. We have seen a rather acrimonious Bengal election where gloves were off quite literally, and it was a high-voltage campaign from both the sides. For the BJP, it was a high-stakes battle, certainly, and so was it for Mamata Banerjee. If you look at it, Shivani, Mamata Banerjee is increasingly positioning herself as a challenger to the centre. She has spoken about a front of the chief ministers of various states as well, all particularly of opposition-ruled states, saying that they should come together and question the Modi government over its various policies. And now we are seeing Mamata Banerjee arrive at 7, LKM for this meeting with the Prime Minister. When she arrived in Delhi, she will be also meeting Sonia Gandhi tomorrow. So important day, particularly in the context of what we have seen, how it has been. We saw Prime Minister travel to, Kolkata for that celebration of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And those celebrations were also marked by Mamata Banerjee getting angry and upset when, there were chants of Jai Shri Ram. And thereafter, it was all building up to what was witnessed as one of the most bitterly contested elections between the BJP and the TMC ever. The BJP did make gains from what they were at 3 seats to now what they are at 75 plus. But overall, when we look at the events playing out, Mamata Banerjee has been on a warpath, quite literally, with the centre, be it on the vaccination drive. She has been repeatedly questioning it and talking about how the entire vaccination process has been delayed and it has been without any thought. And at the same time saying that there is vaccine shortage that the states are facing. So I think, Mamata Banerjee has decided that she'll be questioning the centre on all fronts, and her party, the TMC, will be also doing so in the parliament. We saw it play out in the Rajya Sabha, where Shantanu Sen, member of parliament of the TMC, was, he tore off the statement that was being made by the IT minister on the Pegasus scandal. And thereafter, he has been suspended for the remaining part of the monsoon session of parliament.
Right.
So I think we will be seeing this play out at multiple levels. Mamata Banerjee, of course, has been talking about some kind of a united front in the run-up to 2024, saying that this has to be it has to be in many ways Modi versus all.
Right,
so who are these parties and how will it be? We'll have to wait and see.
In fact, for more on that, let me go back across to Pallavi, because Pallavi, you track the Congress very closely also. Now, message today from the Congress party to Mamata Banerjee on that, uniting of the opposition has been that there can be no such front without the Congress party. It is indeed the only national party, even if it has a very low footprint right now. Knowing the Congress party, would they be comfortable with Mamata really taking center stage and perhaps leading such a front in bringing everyone together or being its face?
See, I don't think the tricky issues are going to be discussed threadbare now, but there are going to be those little subtle hints which the Congress party will certainly want to give to Mamata Banerjee. Everyone knows Mamata Banerjee is ambitious. The appointment of Abhishek Banerjee as General Secretary is not an off-the-cuff decision by her. What she's going to do is that and as we move close to 2024 elections, she's like to focus more and more on a national role for herself. And that's where Abhishek Banerjee is essentially being trained. The reason why Abhishek Banerjee, for example, is interacting with his party colleagues and MPs is this, that, he takes more and more charge of Bengal while she focuses on the national politics. Congress is aware of her ambitions and the Congress doesn't want to be left out. The problem for the Congress is that electorally, they have a very poor report card. And that's the reason why they need to point this out to Mamata Banerjee that, we matter. So that's a message which went in from Kamal Nath and from Anand Sharma as well. And I think it's a message which something Sonia Gandhi cannot say tomorrow when she meets Mamata Banerjee, is that no front can be formed minus the Congress, and Congress cannot be ignored, and Congress wouldn't want to be ignored. It's early days yet, but certainly I think it's not going to be an easy road ahead, and that exactly could be the problem, that every political party, especially national ones, and Congress, which considers itself to be a grand old party, would want to periodically flex its muscles and not let Mamata Banerjee hog the show.
All right. A lot on the agenda for Mamata Banerjee in her visit to Delhi. There's, of course, the issue of Pegasus that the TMC has also been raising vociferously. Pallavi and Maria, thanks a lot for bringing us those updates.